Ukraine's Spiderweb operation on Russia might be the second most precise attack after Israel's pager attack on Hezbollah. Global media is rapidly reporting this operation, how billions of dollars worth of nuclear bombers and military assets were destroyed in broad daylight, and Russia didn't even have a clue how Ukraine carried out one of the boldest attacks in modern warfare, deep inside Russian territory. Look at these clips. Here you can see how Ukraine's suicidal drones are taking down Russia's nuclear bombers one by one. The drone comes, identifies the weakest area, and boom, collides with these planes. What you're watching are Russia's Tu-95 nuclear strategic bombers, massive aircraft designed for long-range nuclear missions. And Ukraine claims to have destroyed up to 40 of these aircraft in a single, coordinated operation, Operation Spiderweb. I mean, the name of this operation is a chef's kiss, because it's really coordinated like a spider web. More than 1 year and 6 months of planning, perfect execution, and a perfect outcome. This operation not only destroyed Russia's nuclear bombers, but also caused heavy damage to Russian bridges, trains, apartments, and various other targets. A lot of attacks happened all over Russia on June 1st. Now here, see the locations of these attacks, which is very shocking. I mean, Ukraine even managed to transfer their drones as far as the Siberia region of Russia, which is 2,500 miles away from Ukraine, or roughly around 4,000 kilometers. That's a really far distance for such an attack. Now the biggest question, how did this attack happen? What was Russia's air defense system doing? Or does it even work? Well, Russia's air defense system works very well. But sometimes, when you're fighting external enemies, internal snakes bite you, which also happened in Russia's case. According to reports, Ukraine was able to smuggle first-person view drones inside Russia via trucks, where they were then placed into mobile wooden kit houses. Obviously, this smuggling couldn't have been possible without support from some Russians who were against Vladimir Putin, and that was the most crucial task of this operation. These trucks were smuggled deep inside Russian territory under the guise of being used for rural or industrial purposes. These were non-military looking trucks, so the Russian military didn't suspect a thing. Once these trucks reached near the target air bases, they were stationed and hidden. Then we all saw what happened next. Ukraine, with a button click, operated around 117 drones one by one and destroyed their designated targets. Major Russian bombers like the Tu-95 and Tu-22M3, long-range bombers used to drop powerful bombs, were destroyed. Reports are also coming in that they made a special mechanism for the automatic opening of the truck doors, which is also visible in several videos. So it was a highly risky and very well-executed operation. There are even reports of AI being used by these suicidal drones. These drones first identified the most vulnerable areas of the Russian aircraft, and once identified, they directly hit them. So there is absolutely no chance for their repair, in case you're wondering if Russia will fix them. Here you can also see when a truck driver tried to open his truck trunk for checking, the drone self-detonated. And Russia is so unlucky that they recently moved many of their nuclear bombers to the Siberia region so that Ukraine couldn't target them. But who knew Ukraine would still go for them? Reports are coming in that Ukrainian drones also targeted a new secret Russian factory in Siberia, which was very likely an important asset for Russia. It's estimated that these damages cost Russia several $billions. The exact number isn't out yet, but it's estimated that Russia took a hit of $6 to $7 billion, and Ukraine is saying lost more than $10 billion. Now the U.S. claims it had nothing to do with this attack, but everybody knows Ukraine couldn't have done this without satellite imagery and intelligence data. President Trump's previous comments and statements are resurfacing on the internet, where he claimed, "I'm stopping a lot of bad things that can happen to Russia if they don't agree to a ceasefire," and said they shouldn't play with fire. And here you can see the Ukrainian general looking at high-definition satellite images of Russian bases. You can clearly see Russian bomber planes in these images. And every image is so clear. This level of clarity can only be provided by a single country. You guys tell me which one. After this attack, Ukrainian President Zelensky also told the world about this operation, how this 1.5-year-long plan was successfully completed, and claimed the operation was fully done by Ukraine without any help, which is up for debate. Russia's Ministry of Defense acknowledged the attacks, but tried to downplay the damage, saying only minor aircraft damage occurred. They also claimed that some drones were intercepted and that they arrested a Ukrainian-linked operative inside Russia who helped smuggle the trucks with hidden drones. But we all know the extreme level of damage that's already been done. One of the Russian soldiers near the base also accidentally released a video showing how devastatingly their base is burning, and smoke is coming out from all directions. So yeah, the damage is huge. But it's very pleasing news for the U.S. because Russia always teases the U.S. with these nuclear bombers, flying them over Alaska, showing they have these big, powerful aircraft that can bomb U.S. soil at any time. But now they're permanently down. Now Russia's long-standing perception that its territory is secure has been shaken. Even their nuclear bombers are not safe. Some time ago, Ukraine also sank their very advanced ship Moskva, which was a major setback for Putin. NATO is celebrating that Russia's strategic bombers are destroyed. This is Russia's Pearl Harbor moment for the entire world. But Ukraine is now on high alert because Russia might retaliate very hard. Vladimir Putin immediately called an emergency meeting after this attack, and he might definitely go for some dangerous and big ICBM options. Online, everyone is claiming that Russia will go nuclear, but I don't think so. Yes, Russia has recently made changes to its nuclear laws, but I think this is still not an option on the table. But just like President Trump, Vladimir Putin is unpredictable, and there are possibilities that he might drop a small tactical nuclear bomb on Ukraine, which again could ignite the fear of nuclear war in Europe and the U.S. One reason is that Putin is now surrounded by pressure. Russians today are demanding strict action against Ukraine. They want Putin to use nuclear weapons because this is now an extreme-level assault. Attacks also happen near Moscow, and now the majority of Russian public opinion is turning negative toward Ukraine. But one thing to notice is that if Ukraine was preparing for such an attack for so long, they definitely have more crazy plans on the table, which they may now execute, especially since Donald Trump is also very angry at Vladimir, and he might give his full approval to Ukraine to do whatever you want. So this clearly suggests that the war is going to escalate further. Talks of peace happening in Istanbul now seem irrelevant. So in conclusion, this attack has become another case study for world militaries. Instead of trying to penetrate from the border, Ukraine smuggled the drones inside Russia and launched them from nearby. This completely bypassed Russian air defenses and enabled direct attacks on the air bases. There may be additional attacks like this in the future. It's possible that more trucks equipped with drones are already concealed within Russia, poised for future coordinated strikes. Russia can no longer rely solely on securing the border with Ukraine. It now has to safeguard its internal infrastructure as well, or risk a major threat to its stability. So at the end, what do you think? How will Vladimir Putin retaliate this time? Thanks for watching the video. Hope you all have a wonderful day.